cool, distinct, and unique sound we have in this tune. This is, of course, Pink Moon by Nick Drake, the title song from his last recorded album. Some other stuff, or last finished album. That's probably a better way to put it. So he, in his short life, unfortunately, made three albums and a few other things that he had kind of miscellaneously that showed up later, but had a very unique approach to the guitar in a lot of different ways, and a lot of his some of his things, and even in normal tunings or in standard tuning, are very unusual, and hopefully we'll get to some more of them. This is going to be the first lesson, though, that we get up here at Totally Guitars from Nick. And the tuning, I should warn you first too, we are going to take a totally different approach to learning this song. No tab involved, so no rhythm written out, and really just a chart that you might want to take a look at right now, which we're just identifying measures, and then I'll be talking you through every measure as far as what happens in it. And because there's not a lot going on with the left hand, but the strumming is very very specific. You already have to have a pretty good feel for strumming. This is not a beginning strumming song. It's a mid-level intermediate strumming song. So you gotta so we're not going to break that down too much, but I will be very specific about what beats you need to hit certain things on, and we're going to take it in very small chunks. I don't know how many parts there are going to be of this lesson yet, because I'm just starting it. But I'm thinking there might be a lot, and some of them might just be 2 measures, and we'll work on those 2 measures. So, but the really interesting thing about this tuning, and many of the others and some of the others that he uses, he doesn't use dozens. He's not in the Joni Mitchell category of that many different tunings, but he does use quite a few. He uses tunings that are called sometimes cluster tunings. Now, what that means, a cluster of notes is a group of notes that are very close together, and you could envision this by the piano. If you walk up to the piano and put your fist down on the piano, you get 3 or 4, maybe 5, 6, depending on how big your hand is, notes that would all be kind of close to each other. You might have a C, a D, an E, and an F, and a G, which is very close to the tuning that we have here. Or you could put your elbow down and get, anyway. So his tunings had a lot of notes that were very close to each other, so they don't sound like an open tuning. They don't sound like a regular, just a standard open G, open D. A little more exotic, but some really interesting notes that sound good together. A little more pentatonic based sometimes, not this one. And so we'll talk about getting into this tuning, which you could mess around with a little bit if you want first. It's done with C, G, C, F, C again, and E. And then capo to the 2nd fret. So pitch-wise, it's a whole step higher than that, which really means it would be D. So anyway, we'll talk about that. I'll walk you through the tuning in the next segment. Now, if you want to play along with his recording of it, not only are you going to have to tune to that, you're going to have to tune it a little sharp. Now, whether his guitar was sharp or the piano was sharp that played the little solo in there, no telling exactly why it came out that way, but they're not exactly in tune with your tuner. So if you have a calibrate-able, there's a word there that I'm not going to find right now, a tuner you can calibrate and find a pitch, and then it will match all the rest of those. That's a good thing. What we're going to take a look at, this song is much shorter than even how long this segment is, how long I've been talking. It's a 2-minute song. This is probably going to be a 40-minute lesson. I don't know yet. We'll see. But we're going to look at pretty much everything he does in here, and he does things with a lot of variations. So sometimes I'll say, you know what, it could go this way, it could go that way. Here's the way it happened to go on the one recording that we have of him playing this. But we'll even look at the little piano part. So really cool sounds in this song. In the next segment we will, and again, let me tell you a little bit more about the way the lesson is broken out, or coming up. Just a chart. We talk about different parts, and we're going to label the measures. There are 3 measures that make up a vamp. We're going to call them V1, V2, and V3, and walk our way through each one of them. The biggest thing you have to be able to do in this is strumming it, is two quick measures of 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You have to have an accent on 1 and 4 of the first measure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So So the accents of the 8 beats that happen on there are both in the first measure, on beat 1 and beat 4. So that's going to be we'll talk a little bit more about that as it comes up. Anyway, a lot of cool stuff coming up in this lesson. First we'll talk about getting into the C, I guess we're going to call it the C cluster tuning, but there's another, we'll talk about what it could be called. So that'd be something else you could think about. If we have C, G, C, F, C, E, what would we call that chord? Okay, coming up, next segment, we get into the tuning, and then for the rest of it, we're just going to have kind of close-ups on the hands and work our way through Pink Moon.